Well, none of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Children have to go back to the roots, yeah. None of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Children have to go back to the roots. I'm telling you now, the truth, the truth. Telling you, yeah, the truth, the truth. You have to go back to the roots, the roots. Go to the roots, to the roots. Yeah, man, this is Benjamin out of the Smiling Coast, West Africa, Gambia, representing for the one and only Abu, the big man you don't know, the Soninke warrior, the man that brings the truth, Soninke warrior, the sign of enlightenment, the Soninke warrior, the righteous and the true African. Abu, reveal the truth to them, no matter how them try to run from it, because none of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Yes, we have to dig back the roots, yeah. Fire!
Subscribe now.
I remember the days, all those years ago that never fade away. And I remember your face when you hit the ground. I can recall the time and place on the midnight walk through the old streets, trying to turn back the clock to the days of old, back to the days when all the things we knew were made of gold. As the world moves on, time sings a song. In the old neighborhood, as the clock strikes one, the memory lives just as it stood, like a quiet dream. The shadows of that time are cast beneath the streetlight beam as the world moves on.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Afridamus Report. I'm your host, Afridamus. I want to welcome all of you to another edition of the Afridamus Report. Let me see here. Bon Voyage, Vanter, Supergirl, 86 Lion, Yaya, all of you, welcome to the Afridamus Report. So, ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to touch on two topics here. How the CIA uses, black entertainers, to infiltrate places like Africa. And it's not only Africa, it's around the world, but today's topic will focus on that. And I have a short documentary that we're going to analyze that's going to show you how, Patrice Lumumba was taken out. So another one is the takeover of Zoran Mamdani. You guys know this, the Ugandan Indian socialist, what that means for FBA. And I use the word FBA instead of black because that's what a lot of them are now identifying themselves as. And even the word, the FBA, ADOS, all of that, when you look at it, beginning to think it's a CIA psyop. Like, for example, earlier today, I was on a space, chaotic space on X. So I was having a conversation, but I come to realize something, and I think I've always realized it, but a lot of people are in denial about it. A lot of white people in America, not all, a lot of white people, they prefer blacks to be in the state that they are in. Because if you look at it, the state that blacks are in today, that was all orchestrated and done by, it's socially engineered by removing the men out of the homes and giving power to the women. And I see now they're trying to push that into Africa as well. You have to realize all the experiment, how to dominate black nations, they do the experiment here first to see how it goes. Because ask yourself, if the men are the providers and protectors, so you remove them and you put the woman over the man, I mean, come on, who does that? That's not nature. That means you're making it easier to conquer. And we see, as you can see, that's what's happening here in America. Is the black women that calls the shots for their entire community, and you can see the results of that. So I was in this space, and we were having conversation, and per usual, as you know, a lot of the FBA types, nothing upsets them than an African person, because they hate being African. They've been programmed to believe that they are in fact above Africans. People have been programmed here in America and many places that Africans are not smart, but that's a lie. Because here's the thing, take it this way: if a group of people show up, they show up at your doorstep, right? And they have their plan against you. Everything is cooked up, how they're gonna do it. You know nothing about this. They show up in a friendly face and you let them in, and they started implementing their plans on you. I mean, it doesn't matter how smart and strong you are. If you do not have information, I mean, you will be defeated. And that's what's happened to Africa for centuries. It doesn't mean African people are dumb. No, 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 no. People showed up, they had their own plans, and they used that plan to dominate African people. So that's why information is very, very important. So when blacks, have you noticed when they're running around here, they call themselves Indians, Hebrews, natives? Have you seen whites correcting them? They're not correcting them. It's comedy. They love it because keeping them in that state of mind, being dumb about their identity, is comfortable. You can control a people who do not have the real information. So I noticed that in the space, I was talking to one guy who was ranting just like the people I had on here yesterday, the Kwame type, So all I had to do is bring up what is happening in America. The guy started going off. He started going off talking about, yeah, you guys don't have anything in Africa. You are being dominated by the Chinese. The usual talking points. So I just let him keep talking. So eventually, I asked him few questions to calm him down. So he was calm. Now we are about to have, we began having cordial conversation to understand each other. And I noticed the moment the guy was calm, we're having that conversation to understand each other. Guess what? First, two different white people jumped in to interrupt that conversation. It blew my mind. I was like, wait a minute, what is going on here? I said, why every single time? If black FBA people are going at it with Africans, shouting at each other, these same people would sit back and just enjoy it. They love it. They love the chaos. But the moment the conversation goes to calmness, and they see that the FBA person is trying to engage an African person in a sensible conversation, oh, no, 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 no. They can't have that going. They still, and I'm not saying this is all white people. That's not what I'm saying. So this is why I believe that this is a psyop. It is a psyop. There's no way it isn't. Because how can a group of black people, I get that there's lots who are lost, but they have not been this lost to where they would flat out just go out there and deny being African, and they have groups that they set up to create the confusion. If you go on Twitter, they allow blacks to just spew the confusion. they allow them to be to insult Africans. But as soon as they are calm, they want to have real conversation with Africans, there's always a white person who jumps in and try to clown it to make it seem like a joke. So I'm noticing that pattern. It's a divide and conquer tactic. It's been used for ages. The entertainment, which I'm going to touch on today. And by the way, just like rap also is being used, like exported to different countries. This is all CIA doing, because it's not only used internationally. It's not only used internationally. It's used here first against the black people themselves. Because if you look at the inception of rap, they were not talking, it wasn't gangster rap. They were not talking about killings. It was like revolutionary. But now all of a sudden it changed into the gangster rap. They started going at each other, killing one another. The killings went up, right? So somebody is behind it. I listened to an interview by Ice Cube and a couple of rappers. Ice Cube said it. He said, these record label companies, do you know the people that own it also own the private prisons? And the rappers, they were saying, yeah, they would tell them what kind of lyrics to write. Because if you look at the type of lyric that's been pushed, that's pushing a lot more people into prison. So if you add that onto, broken homes, lack of fathers in the home, and then you have the outside influence, the breakdown, because you can destroy a generation of people, literally, if you disturb the natural flow of them within a generation. If you remove the flow they had, the ones that are going to grow up are going to be weaker. They cannot follow the footsteps, which is what happened to blacks here in America. And you look at the crack era. Okay, fine. Even myself, I've made those statements. I'm like, okay, they put the crack there, but why did you take it? It's easy to just say, why did they take it? I mean, prior to that, they had industries. Blacks were working in the industries, the men. So think about it. They removed these men from their home. They removed the jobs from their communities. And now they become destitute and desperate. Then you drop the crack there, drugs. So it's easy for people, of any kind to resort to drugs if that happens. Not that I'm making excuses, but I'm just showing you how this psyop is so much stronger. Now that brings us to Africa. Patrice Lumumba. You all have heard of Patrice Lumumba. So the CIA orchestrated, the killing of Patrice Lumumba, and we're going to explore a short video here. And I mean, this is going to blow your mind. This would show you how they use black entertainers around the world, and how a popular black musician was used for the CIA to be able to infiltrate and kill Lumumba. So I don't want to keep you waiting. We will go straight into that before we come to how Zoran Mamdani, a new immigrant, took over New York City. And what does that mean for the blacks? And, the blacks are crying about it, but let's get straight into the documentary here. All right, here we go.
Government funded music tours for jazz musicians all across the world in hopes of promoting American culture and values. But when Louis Armstrong was touring Africa in 1961, little did he know that the CIA had used him for something much more sinister. And as we'll get into, Louis Armstrong may have been used as a distraction during the mysterious assassination of an African prime minister. During the Second World War, the USA and the Soviet Union emerged as the two most powerful countries in the world. A war emerged between these two new superpowers, but they never directly fought against each other on the battlefield. Instead, these two nations indirectly fought in other countries like Vietnam and Korea, but they would also fight each other through propaganda and influence. This is a very simple breakdown of what was known as the Cold War, and in 1954, President Eisenhower decided that music and culture was needed for this war. Eisenhower announced a $5 million fund to support cultural groups that would perform abroad and represent American culture. This involved...
So, you guys have heard the argument that people have made here. They would say, oh, we are very well known. So you see, right after World War II, this American culture it's part of the kits of, American weapon against other places. So this is why African nations, when you see this quote unquote popular black celebrities, and even some of the now popular African musicians, even, in these different genres, you got to watch out for them as well, because, people are used as useful idiots. They might think they are just performing, but they are actually part of something else that they don't know about. So let me show you how the killing of Lumumba was orchestrated by the CIA.
Orchestras, theater groups, and folk dancers. As Billy Perigo in Time magazine explained, the State Department hoped that showcasing popular American music around the globe would not only introduce audiences to American culture, but also win them over as ideological allies in the Cold War. A year later, Adam Clayton Powell Jr., an African-American congresswoman, suggested that jazz musicians could be added to this initiative.
So, Adam Clayton Powell, a black congressman, because of the one-drop rule. I know some of you are going to say he looks white, but the American one-drop rule, he suggested they add, black jazz musicians. So this is a congressman. Who knows? This is about, using American influence as a weapon through music and entertainment in other countries. So you must know that.
The Soviet Union could match America with its theater, orchestras, and dancers, but jazz music was something that only America could offer. Powell was friends with the jazz musician Dizzy Gillespie at the time and assigned him the role of America's first jazz ambassador. However, Gillespie was deeply reluctant when he accepted this offer. Keep in mind, this was also during a period of racial segregation in the U.S. Around this time, Emmett Till, who was a 14-year-old black child in Mississippi, supposedly whistled at a white woman named Carolyn Bryant. In response, Carolyn's husband and brother-in-law brutally murdered Emmett and dumped him in the Tallahatchie River. This was understandably sparking fear and anger among the Black Americans. So this was the context in which many Black American jazz musicians were asked to show the rest of the world how great America was. As well as the horrific killing of Emmett Till, segregation occurred in everyday issues such as employment, school, and transport. Dizzy said, "I sort of like the idea of representing America, but I wasn't going over there to apologize for the racist policies of America."
So Emmett Till was a 14-year-old, as you heard, who was killed. Apparently they said he whistled at a white woman. So you have to know, Emmett Till's story spread like wildfire. Even though people didn't have the internet, but this spread like wildfire. It reached even, at the time you have African, liberators who knew about Emmett Till's story. And that's, sent anger over. So now America, at the time, they are trying to convince African nations that where they have interest, no, we are not like that. We're not racist. America is a cool place to be. So Now they're going to recruit people like Louis Armstrong to try to go showcase that around the world, not only in Africa, but in European countries as well, because even Europeans and others would, the story reached all over the world. They were very repulsed by what happened to, young Emmett Till. So now they want to convince people, no, the blacks are not being mistreated in America. So here we go.
First jazz tour took place across Eastern Europe and the Middle East, all with the idea of keeping communism at bay in this region. The tour consisted of both black and white jazz musicians, which was a deliberate attempt by the US government to imply that the US was a place of racial harmony. This helped combat the bad publicity they received from stories like Emmett Till as well. The tour was a success, and the process of sending jazz bands across the world continued. It was a win-win. Jazz bands wanted to tour internationally anyway, so it would be strange not to accept financial support from the US government. In November of 1955, a New York Times correspondent witnessed one of these jazz concerts in Stockholm, Sweden, and wrote, "America's secret weapon is a blue note in a minor key." And Louis Armstrong was, quote, its most effective ambassador. Armstrong was arguably the most famous American on the planet. In his home country, he was also one of the earliest Black American musicians to be accepted by white America. As well as being a talented musician, Armstrong had a very clean-cut image and refrained from speaking about political issues. But because of his silence, he was criticized by many Black people and often referred to as a, quote, Uncle Tom. In 1958, Armstrong was even asked to tour within the Soviet Union. It's unclear whether this was used as a peacemaking effort with the Soviet Union or to promote American propaganda.
But see, let's make that part clear. The blacks called him Uncle Tom because he was speaking on politics, but he's not really Uncle Tom, which you're about to find out. So a lot of these people who are used, it's for financial reasons. It's not like they even know that this is what they are participating in. They are just used as a tool to convince other people. So it's not like, Louis Armstrong went and say, you know what, I'm going to be this undercover to deceive the Africans and others. That's not what I'm saying here. But the government, the CIA, did it like they planned it out to send this message to the world. So, to say, no, we are not mistreating the blacks here. You see, look at, blacks and whites, they're coming together, in love, they're playing music. So that's the message they wanted to send out there. So you will see how the Congo eventually comes into play.
Propaganda, or possibly a bit of both. But in the run-up to this tour, a historical moment happened within the civil rights movement known as the Little Rock Nine. In Little Rock, Arkansas, 9 Black American students enrolled in Little Rock Central High School, a predominantly white school. A few years earlier, the U.S. Supreme Court had ruled that segregated schools were inherently unequal, so these students had the right to be there. However, this sparked large protests from white people in the area. Eventually, these kids were prevented from entering the school by Orville Faubus, the governor of Little Rock, Arkansas. He used the state power to block these kids from attending and called out the National Guard to prevent these 9 students from entering the school. 2 weeks afterward, Louis Armstrong was playing a concert in Grand Forks, North Dakota. Before the show, Louis was interviewed by a journalist named Larry Lubinow. Lubinow was a very liberal-minded and wanted Louis to talk about the civil rights movement without making it too obvious. He told Louis that Grand Forks was the hometown of Judge Ronald Davies, who was behind the court order to allow the Little Rock Nine to attend the school. And the mention of this topic set Louis off. Armstrong responded by saying, "It's getting almost so bad a colored man hasn't got any country." Louis then said President Eisenhower was two-faced and had, quote, no guts. Armstrong was reported as calling Governor Faubus an uneducated plowboy. However, Armstrong apparently said something much nastier about him that wouldn't be suitable for publication. Louis Armstrong also...
So, you see that Louis Armstrong was quiet, right? He was just playing his music, but that doesn't mean, what black people were going through wasn't, pissing him off. He was paining him. So obviously that interview proved it. Like when a man is quiet, that doesn't mean they don't care. So like he was really pissed by that. So as soon as they interviewed him, he called, the president a gutless man. And the governor, an uneducated plowboy, like a farm boy. So here we go.
Also canceled his state-sponsored tour of the Soviet Union. It's unclear how much effect Armstrong's words and actions held, but a few days after his interview was published, Eisenhower brought in the U.S. Army to ensure that the Little Rock Nine were allowed to attend school. Armstrong's boycott of state-sponsored tours lasted for 4 years. By then, the civil rights movement had made some headway, and Armstrong felt that it was okay to tour again. Hugo Berkeley, who has made a documentary on these jazz ambassadors, said, "There was this feeling that a page was being turned in the political discussion of race." So in 1961, Armstrong agreed to do a state-sponsored tour of Africa. During this period, Africa was undergoing a rapid transformation of decolonization. 17 African countries had become independent in 1960, and the U.S. government hoped that Armstrong's music would win the hearts and minds of people from these newly independent nations. But as well as funding...
So I'm glad, you guys are seeing this. You have to remember, there was so much hope when these African nations were becoming, were kicking out the colonizers. So you have to remember, there was so much sabotage. You're seeing it right here in front of you. So when people ask, oh, how come the African, they failed? No, they didn't just fail. They were sabotaged. There was sabotage upon sabotage from the British, French, America, CIA. Even though they said, okay, these people are fighting, they want us out, but they did not leave. They kept on sabotaging Africa. All different tools were used. Because if you go back and look, most of the countries, new countries that became independent, right after that, what did it follow? What followed? Civil war, coups, okay? These were all outsiders that sponsor those wars that you were seeing in Africa. So it's not like Africa was just left alone, just like Africa is not left alone today.
In jazz tours, the U.S. government was working on much more sinister operations within this region. The historian Susan Williams looked into this tour and found some rather unsavory aspects of who was on this tour and why this tour took place. In November 1960, Louis was playing Leopoldville, a city in the newly independent nation of Congo. Unbeknownst to Louis, his political attaché was the head of the CIA in Congo and essentially a spy. According to an article in The Guardian, documents found by Williams in the archives of the UN during 5 years of research strongly suggest that Armstrong's host, CIA Station Chief Larry Devlin, and other U.S. intelligence officers posted to Congo used the cover of the musician's visit to get access to the strategically important and very wealthy province of Katanga. The political situation...
So, did you guys hear that? So the CIA, they was, the host was stationed there. They were stationed there. But you see, this region here, Katanga, they couldn't have gotten access to it if they didn't bring black musicians. So when they brought the black musician, that was used as the cover for them to be able to get to Katanga. Even like the boxing that they set up even in Congo between Muhammad Ali and George, I think, was it Fraser? That was all, state-sponsored, same thing. So, yeah, this is going to blow your mind. Here we go.
The situation at this time was incredibly complicated. Patrice Lumumba was elected as Prime Minister of the Congo a year earlier. As the new Prime Minister, he didn't speak positively about Congo's former colonizer, Belgium. A civil war took place where rebels took over the province of Katanga and were assisted by the Belgian military. Lumumba got very little support from the UN and Western nations to take back this area, so he asked for help from the Soviet Union. And curiously enough, he only lasted 3 months in power. The president of the Congo had the power to fire Lumumba, and a military coup took place where the country was now under the control of another leader called Mobutu. Lumumba was then imprisoned in Katanga, and CIA Station Chief Larry Devlin said that the coup of Mobutu was arranged and supported and indeed managed by the CIA.
You guys hear that, right? So Mobutu's coup was orchestrated and supported by the CIA. Because you see, they saw Lumumba as a problem. Because, see, I'm going to bring that video another day. The speech that Lumumba gave. So they invited them to Belgium because, you know, King Leopold, he was the king of Belgium. They're the one, Congo was his own personal, colony. But eventually Belgium took over. So they had some dignitaries from the Congo who were invited to Belgium. But they know about, Lumumba, because Lumumba was out in the Congo, waking the people of the Congo. He was just, talking tough, talking trash about the colonizers. So when they were invited, the plan was, they said, Lumumba cannot speak. They didn't arrange for Lumumba to speak. So Lumumba didn't say anything. When they got there, in front of the king of Belgium, this is not Leopold, this is way after him, way after. Lumumba didn't care that he was scheduled to speak. Man, he gave one hell of a speech. I mean, people believe that's the speech that got him killed. Man, he laid it out, all the atrocities that, the Belgians did in the Congo and continue to do. He was telling them to leave them alone, like he was calling them blood suckers, all kind of names. It was so well, he laid it out to them. It's not like he was begging. He just let them have it. So they see Lumumba as a problem. Lumumba wants Belgium, United States, any other white country completely out of there. So when they created the rebellion to try to divide the Congo, they created that Katanga province. They were fighting him. None of, the Belgians didn't help him. The United States, even though they were stationed there, they wouldn't help him. So he looked for help from Russia. Now that became a problem for the United States, because they don't want Lumumba to win. Because if Lumumba, the idea Lumumba had, if Lumumba had succeeded, man, we would be talking, we would be saying something else about the Congo. Congo wouldn't look like it is today. So they interrupted the development of the country by taking him out.
Shortly after this coup, jazz legend Louis Armstrong was in town. Susan Williams describes Armstrong's role on this tour as that of a Trojan horse. This is in reference to the classic tale from ancient Greece where a large wooden horse was given to the city of Troy, and when they brought in the horse, they realized that it was full of soldiers ready to attack them. In this scenario, the country of Congo was welcoming Louis Armstrong, but the US government could use the concert as an excuse to travel within their country. While the CIA helped Mobutu with this military coup of the Congo, the province of Katanga was still being run by a separate group of rebels. So Louis Armstrong's concert in Katanga gave them the perfect excuse to be there. According to Williams, quote, they needed a cover and this gave them one. As well as being the tension center of the former prime minister, Katanga also had mining infrastructure and 1,500 tons of uranium. Uranium is used for nuclear weapons, so you can see why the US wanted control, or at the very least, didn't want the Soviet Union to have control of this region.
So you guys hear that, right? So Louis Armstrong was used as the cover for them to be able to travel around the Congo to get to where they need to get to. It's not that Louis Armstrong knows it. He thought Louis Armstrong, you see, the Congolese welcomed him. He thought he was just going there to perform. But no. He was brought there to gain the confidence of the Congolese people so they can travel around the Congo and do what they need to do, just like you're hearing here right now.
And 2 months after this Louis Armstrong tour, Lumumba was mysteriously killed. Although Larry Devlin admitted that the CIA was involved in the coup, they denied any involvement with this murder. However, Williams found evidence that contradicted these claims. U.S. documents have shown that a U.S. agent called W.I. Rogue traveled to Thysville, the town where Lumumba was imprisoned before his death. And interestingly, he traveled after the CIA claimed to have dropped their interest in Lumumba. Williams said, "We can't say what W.I. Rogue did in Thasville, but it does undermine Devlin's reliability at the very least." As well as the US, Belgium was also accused of the murder. The country had mining interests in Katanga, and Lumumba had threatened to nationalize all of these mines and essentially take it away from them. George Ngongola Tajala, a professor at the University of North Carolina, said in an interview with the NPR, the West did not like him. President Eisenhower of the United States gave orders to the CIA to assassinate him at the meeting of the National Security Council on August 18, 1960.
You hear that, right? Isn't it wild to you? It's like the United States is not who colonized the Congo, but you see the role they've been playing. They didn't like Lumumba. They didn't like him because it's not like he did anything to them. Because Lumumba, in his speech when he went to Belgium and what he's been pushing in the Congo at the time, he was letting the Congolese know this is our country, all these resources is ours. I'm going to nationalize all of it for it to benefit us. So they're like, man, this is crazy. We've been stealing from these people, we've been raping them, we've been doing all kind of stuff, and here comes this guy. Now all of a sudden he wants to stop this. So just like the United States played the same thing. You guys know that they removed Kwame Nkrumah too, right? I'm going to bring that show here too. So clearly you see it, the US president gave the go ahead to take Lumumba out, to take him out.
The simple expression, "Can't we get rid of that guy?" But Alan Dulles, the CIA boss, understood exactly what the president meant because it was something that Dulles was used to. The Belgians also had their own plan to assassinate Lumumba by hiring a crocodile hunter to shoot him. But all of those plans were abandoned for a better plan, which was to use Congolese adversaries of Lumumba to make sure that Lumumba would lose power and then could be arrested and executed. Historians now feel that Lumumba was neither anti-American nor pro-Soviet Union, but simply wanted Congo to remain neutral. Williams said, "The tragedy is that Lumumba and a number of other African leaders weren't opposed to the US. They wanted friendly relations with the US, but because they weren't opposed to the Soviets either, they were seen as enemies by Washington."
So, you hear that? So the African nations, even like Lumumba, he wasn't against Americans, just like the other African leaders. But they just want to remain neutral. Like they don't, it's like they don't want to be pulled into, the beef that Russia and the United States have. They want to be able to trade with both. But the United States, their policy, they're like, nah, if you are not with us all the way, then you are against us. So here we go.
Attitude was, you're either with us or against us. And in what could be looked upon as a tragic irony, Louis Armstrong released his most popular hit 6 years after the assassination, titled, "What a Wonderful World." Make sure to subscribe for more.
All right. You seen and heard that. That's how it went down. And today, they use rap music for that. A lot of those, even like people like Oprah, I mean, think about it, right? There is so much here in the United States that the black people need help with. They need help with. But how come they were, who told Oprah to go to South Africa to build schools there? Even all those stuff they talk about, we are the world, all of that. Those are all set up by the CIA. 86 Lion. That's something that can be looked at. O'Shea Field, all of these guys, the way they speak, like, because today we're in the internet age. So now the attack is being done on the internet. This is why, have you noticed these people keep trying to force it upon Africans to say, oh, the diaspora war, the beef between them and Africans. There is no beef from Africans against the blacks, but they want to force it. You know, and you would see people, they would come, they would give you narratives. You're like, no, but we're not against you. They're like, no, 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 no. They want to force it on you. It seems like orchestrated, and they get their talking points straight from, you know, certain individual. That's what they do. So now let's go straight to what is happening here in America, and then I'll open up the line. But guys, you know, I hope you guys took your notes so that when I open the line, we'll, you know, I want to hear your thoughts on, you know, how they use, you know, black entertainment against African nations. I mean, I just showed you an example here, you know, in Congo. And I bet you a lot of you didn't even know that. That's how Lumumba was taken out. So now let us go straight to New York City. New York City have a new mayor called Zoran Mamdani from Uganda. I believe he's Indian. He's a new immigrant here. So what Mamdani won, Mamdani gave a speech. And in his speech, he said, New York was built by immigrants. And the FBA people are not taking that well. But you see, there's a saying in my language, one of our language. It says, La bungna jano among at the dabo tulaje. Meaning, if you know, setting the house on fire, if the house is burning, that fire is not going to spare the bed bug. So over years, you know, we've seen it since Obama's time. They've turned, you know, blacks became more radical, especially the women. They became more angrier. They're angry at the white man, but they forgot that they also live in this country. They are part of the fabric of America. So everything they were doing, they think they were doing it to the white man, but now they don't realize, they're realizing they've given up the power that they have. Mamdani just proved that, you know, the black vote, you know, is irrelevant, as you can see in the election. I saw what Mamdani was doing. Mamdani, you know, was going to, you know, he's not only from Uganda, so he's considered African. He's also Muslim. There's so many Muslims there. So he was going from Muslim place to, so Africans voted for him. You know, the Arabs, Afghans, even the Jews, everybody voted for him. He was not pandering to the FBA. That, you know, that shows that the FBA vote is irrelevant. It holds no power anymore. So now the FBAs are crying about, oh, how dare this man said immigrants built America, but New York, but it was built by immigrants. The Dutch that came here, they are Europeans. You know, this is not Europe. They built it. And then other immigrants just kept coming. So let's see. Nana, welcome in the house. Nana said, FBA not taking this Mamdani thing well. Phil Scott did a video about this. Yeah, Tariq also did. But at this point, the only thing left for FBA is just talk, stuck in the past. You know, if you notice, Mamdani, he gave his speech. He didn't even mention FBA there. He gave all the thanks to immigrants. I mean, do you know, like Mamdani is new here in America. So the white people are upset. FBA is upset. I mean, they've tried all kinds of tricks. They could not stop this Mamdani guy. So we'll get to a video here. And the FBAs, they are very upset. They, you know, they want to present their point that they built America. But the only thing they are presenting to the rest of us is the blacks are now a relic. They belong in a museum. They themselves are saying it. The only things they are referencing, nobody can see anymore. So, it's sad that, like they themselves, the blacks, had the power to elevate themselves, but because of anger that they have against white people, they went ahead and defeated themselves. They paved the way for Mamdani by voting over 90% for Democrats. You see, Mamdani ran as a democratic socialist in the Democratic Party. So if the blacks were not given power to the Democrats, the Mamdanis wouldn't exist, or the Ilhan Omars. So they open up the pathway for that to happen, and now they became, irrelevant. They are completely neutralized. I'm about to show you that. But before that, let me show you Mamdani's, rap video here. Because, Mamdani he's a talented rapper also. So let's see. It's just like he's doing like what everyone does. Any group they come, FBA tether themselves to them, and then they cry about losing. Someone made a funny video about Mamdani, but here we go. And it's not only the blacks, the white liberals as well. Those are, the woke ones. Those are another ones that shoot themselves in the foot.
I'm Zoran the moron, a socialist star. I'm jumping turnstiles, I don't own a car. Never punched a clock, never swept the floor, but I'll freeze your rent. Calling it class war, got a compound chilling out in Uganda. Preaching that struggle from my family veranda. Parents in vogue, I'm woke on demand. Eating rice on the train with my dirty bare hands. They call me the prophet of progressive pain, but I just want clout to fund my campaign. I raise the taxes on the white and rich, cause I'm a comfortable, carefree communist. I'm Zoran the moron, call me Mamdani. Got Trump derangement syndrome for Big Donnie. I'm the crown prince of the virtue signal. My smile so fake, it's almost criminal. Zoran the moron, call me Mamdani. Got Trump derangement syndrome for Big Donnie. I'm the crown prince of the virtue signal. My smile so fake, it's almost criminal. Born with money, but I claim grassroots. Speech full of slogans and empty suits. Woke kids cheer like I parted seas, like I'm Barack Obama with fewer degrees. Never built nothing, but I preach reform. Doom every cop, call chaos the norm. Yeah, I'm your savior, your socialist king. Now bow to my brand and the slogans I bring. I say inshallah while I fund the parade. The alphabet mafia got me laid claim. I'm devout while I bless the sin. Call it progress, that's how I spin. I'm Zoran the moron, call me Mamdani. Got Trump derangement syndrome for Big Donnie. I'm the fallen angel of the virtue signal. Every word I say is still hypocritical. Zoran the moron, call me Mamdani. Got Trump derangement syndrome for Big Donnie. I'm the crown prince of the virtue signal. My smile so fake, it's almost criminal.
All right. I hope you guys enjoyed that new Zoran, that new Zoran banger right there. So if you look at it, even Trump is so upset. He wants Zoran out. But what people fail to understand is in New York City is majority, new immigrants who are citizens. So Zoran was able to tap into the immigrant vote over there. So that's why even Trump can't stop him. So now let's go to, what FBA, I came across a FBA video. Shout out to to St. James sending that to me. So let's see what FBA is upset about, because if you look at it, I don't think FBA even understand what is happening to them. I don't think they get it. I don't think they understand the dynamics of America. Like the moment you relinquish the power, you gave that power away. You gave it away. So you can't cry. You can't take it back. Like last time Joe Biden said to FBA, he said, from now on, you're going to listen to the immigrants, the Latinos, because that's who the Democrats want to rely on. So let us see what this win means, what this means for FBA. I mean, this is the final banger for them. Like, this is proof that they've been completely conquered, because even the white people, this is not sitting well with them. So let's start this video and then I'll open up the line. We hear from the FBAs.
Immigrants, they come in the country, they get a point over black folk for being an immigrant. Blacks are the only non-immigrant. 2, all of them are classified as whites. The Arabs, Asian, Hispanics, they all been reclassified as whites. Even American Indians back in the 1890s became classified as whites. They get a point. That's the second point. They get over black folk in getting access to resources and benefits. The third thing they get the benefits for being put into a minority category. They're classified as minorities over black folk. Thirdly, they come in with a culture that they can establish a culture that they can now build businesses and industries and relate back to their homeland. And lastly, what they can do, they also bring in a religious aspect and business opportunities for their people. Black folk get nothing.
Shout out to Dr. Claude Anderson, always speaking truth.
So if you look at it, this is Dr. Claude Anderson. Dr. Claude Anderson have been sounding the alarm bell for the blacks for many, many years. For many, many years, he's been sounding the alarm bells, but no, they didn't care about what he has to say. So now he's talking about, even though, as you know, AB said they keep talking about what happened almost centuries ago. Yes, they are stuck in the past. You cannot bring a 1890 fight in 2025. But Dr. Clark Anderson, I've heard his other talks, even he's been talking since the 70s, to be fair. He's been telling the blacks, look, let's focus on our own self, our agenda. Let's focus on ourselves instead of being out here saying, we are attaching ourselves to, every group that come. So, but he also misleads them in a way, saying, the immigrants are giving advantage. No. The immigrants give themselves the advantage because immigrants have a sense of direction. I think that's what the message he always tried to send, to them. But then, 86 Live, he was the OG, ADOS. I mean, a lot of his talking points, he is against immigrants, which is fine. But some of the things he was telling the blacks from the beginning, he was trying to help them understand how power actually works, even though some of his talking points are kind of crazy. But I'm looking at the overall message he was trying to give to the blacks, and he predicted to the blacks that this was going to happen to them. So here we go.
To power, please look him up if you have not heard of him. Now, speaking of immigrants, I've been seeing a lot of chatter about this so-called historic election in New York, where Zohran Mamdani, hope I'm saying that.
So you notice when you hear them say so-called, that means they've gotten defeated. They think just because they say so-called, that won't make it real. He is the mayor now. Like, you can say so-called, whatever. He is the mayor. And Mamdani, I guess he put it down as African American, right? And they got mad. Oh, he's not black, but Kamala is black. If Kamala is black, how is he not black? How is he not black? He's from a black country. So he is African American. But the blacks did not like that. Okay? And the reality is they had power and they gave away their power. This is what happens. When you have your power and you give it away, then you have no say in how things are gonna go. So let us hear her tell us what they feel about Mamdani.
Right? A self-proclaimed socialist just became the mayor. Now, he got in because he promised New Yorkers government-run grocery stores, rent freezes, free childcare, and plans to pay for it all by taxing the wealthy. Here's the catch, though. Governor Kathy Hochul, who has a fall in her ratings, has made it clear she's not raising taxes. And since Mamdani can't increase taxes without her approval, I'm going to assume that he knew he couldn't make good on these promises. Okay. Now, while they were running in direct opposition on taxes, people still voted for him. But there are many in that area who are realizing that they were caught up in the hype.
You see the laugh in Mamdani's face. Mamdani is like, you dummies, you're so dumb. Does she truly think Mamdani was coming to actually do all that? He was just saying whatever to get, so that he can win, to get to the goal. That's what it's about. Mamdani is like, he's got the laugh on his face. He's going like, God, I can't believe how dumb these people are. And the Rainbow Coalition people also voted for him overwhelmingly. So Mamdani is letting you know. Mamdani is Muslim. He went around. So they think Muslims really are into the alphabet stuff. They support it. Are these people crazy? Like, Mamdani is looking at them like, oh my goodness, I can't believe this. I can't believe these people actually fell for what I'm saying. So the FBA lady, what she is saying, she's completely lost. She does not understand what is happening here. You think Mamdani, the things he said, he really cares about doing them? He just wanted to win, and he won. That's what counts. But here we go.
And the illusion of change. Now, while all this is going on, I don't live in New York, but I do want to talk about his speech, specifically the part where he states immigrants built New York.
But immigrants did build New York. So the blacks are going to be mad that, but watch what reason she gives about why the immigrants didn't build it. I'm telling you now, the only thing left for the blacks is to make videos online and complain. And pretty soon, even in the online space, we are here, we are about to take that space too. We're not only taking the cities, we are the internet space too. We are slowly walking our way to take that too. So here we go.
I'm not even going to hold you. Let's get into it.
New York will remain a city of immigrants, a city built by immigrants, powered by immigrants. And as of tonight, led by an immigrant.
That's right. This is right. He didn't tell one lie. One lie. Let's see how that lady is doing in her dashiki. Thank you. Well, the FBA, please take off your dashikis now.
This is not only how we stop Trump, it's how we stop the next one. So, Donald Trump, since I know you're watching, I have 4 words for you. Turn the volume up.
Of course, I could not play the whole speech here.
Man, you see that? So Memdani came out, and you know, Memdani, his middle name is, I guess he has like, you know, his middle name is Kwame. So the blacks cannot say Mamdani is not black. You guys remember the guy that was calling here from, you know, you guys kept, you know, Cam. The blacks said he's black, and Cam and Mamdani are the same color. They said Kamala is black. So how can they complain that Mamdani is not black? Mamdani is more black. He's from an African country. Okay, he's from an African country. So this FBA lady, they are all, even Tariq, all of them are triggered that, you know, he said New York City was built by immigrants and now being run by an immigrant. Show me one lie. Show me one lie he said here. 86, oh sorry, Spellcaster, thank you for the super chat. He said A1 to Africans, Kemets, Kush, Nubians on the panel. Thank you for the super chat. Name one lie he's told here. He gave a fiery speech. He even challenged Donald Trump. I mean, he's like, hey, we're here to take over. You know, not only the immigrants voted for me, I am an immigrant mayor. So we took the biggest city in the world, not only in America, in the world. So let's let him keep going.
You or we would be here all day. I have had the opportunity to listen to it in its entirety offline. Okay. And one thing I noticed is he didn't mention Black Americans, but he did make sure to show footage of himself listening to Black music. Now, me personally, I don't care what religion he is. I care about results. And all I'm hearing is immigrants, immigrants, and immigrants. I hear the talking of the housing, the funding.
The word immigrant is triggering these FBAs. What they don't understand, the ship had already sailed. Like, they can cry till the, you know, sun comes down. It won't matter. Because when it mattered, they, you know, they didn't do anything when it mattered. So now that the ship has left, you know, the train is on its way, they are like, oh yeah, we got to stop it with crying. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Nana said, I'm a staunch Republican in capitals, but Mamdani is a thorn in FBA flesh. I'm good. Thank you. Exactly. See, I mean, I can't even believe they voted for Mamdani. I can't believe it. So FBA got nobody to blame but themselves. You guys saw it. I played Pastor Manning over here. They didn't take Pastor Manning serious. They didn't want to vote for Pastor Manning because they don't like what Pastor Manning is saying. They could have voted for Pastor Manning, but because they feel like, oh, he hurt our feelings. At least if Pastor Manning was the mayor, they wouldn't have to hear Mamdani say, now this place has been run by immigrants. So here we go. You see it here? You know, you got the Africans, his people, the Indian Africans, all of them are behind him. That's right.
And the opportunity, but it's,
and guys, please put your put the bushmeat soups in the chat if you are one of the people who would invite Mamdani for a bush meat eating session. Please put it in the chat. Let me see it.
Seems like he's going to gear this toward immigrants only. I also want to be clear. As for him coming for Donald Trump, he better come strong because the man is petty. And sir, you better pipe down when it comes to Trump, okay? I don't know if you noticed or not.
You mean the same Trump that you people hate so much? The same Trump you refuse to vote for? See, FBA think they can play this game where like they go against their white zaddy and let other people in, give those people power. When those people got power, now they are pissed. They want to go back to, oh, you better not talk about Trump because he petty. You guys did not vote for Trump. You hated Trump. You allowed yourself to be consumed by hatred. I mean, hell, you guys you voted for Kamala. She's immigrant too. But they are confused. They are confused. Now they want to support Trump when it's too late. So here we go.
But he don't back down, and he definitely don't believe in following all the laws. Okay. And this is coming from a dude whose wife is an immigrant. He's already talking about taking funding from you, and I don't even think that's legal. Anyway, on to this immigrants built the nation thing. Now, a lot of these other groups try to erase our legacy and history today, knowing in their hearts the truth. I mean, y'all, there's not one immigrant group that literally don't try to take credit for all the sacrifices that our ancestors did. And this is blatant disrespect. And I'm going to say it up front. New York or any of the other parts of the country was not built by immigrants.
New York is literally built by immigrants. Literally. It wasn't built by the native Indians. So it was built by immigrants. Europeans immigrated here. You see, FBA think they can just come and always say, oh, our ancestors this, our ancestors that. Like, what is she talking about? Literally. Like, if you wanted people to talk about your ancestors, you guys should have been in power, but you're not. So anything you're saying about this, people just don't care about it. They do not care. So I don't think they get that point yet.
Have added to what was already built, but honey, you didn't start a thing. Now, an immigrant is basically someone who chooses to leave their homeland, to migrate to another. You came here for a better way of life and benefit from the things that our ancestors provided. Why would you come over here to build if you could have just built in your homeland?
Well, you could have said that. We can say that to the Dutch. We can say that to the British. Your masters. Yeah. Why did the white people come here and build here when they could have done it in Europe? I mean, why did I come here when I could have been in China and become the emperor of China? You see how anyone can say that. So this is what is left for FBA. Now, the only thing they are talking about is the past that no longer exists. That no longer exists. Mamdani won. He won. So you should have stopped him before he won. I mean, it's simple. The guy won. So you showing us the 60s, 1800s. I mean, how is that going to change anything?
Many of these people were not here during chattel slavery, and they came after to freeload off of what was already done. Yes, I said freeload.
Oh, yeah, sure. This is a dumb argument. They always do this. Sometimes I even had people, they're like, oh, you're Johnny come lately. Why weren't you here during the civil rights? Because I wasn't born. Oh, why weren't you here during chattel slavery? Because I wasn't born. Hello. Like, do you guys see how remedial a lot of these people sound? And a lot of people are seeing this on the internet. So she's sitting here saying, oh, people are freeloading off of who? Not them. Isn't it freeloading that got them in the position that they are in? while everyone is here, working hard, trying to create their own space, they are fighting. They're talking about, oh, we marching to boycott places. We are, and when they say we boycott these places, they go in the back, they clap. They're like, yeah, the blacks are not gonna be shopping here. And the whites, I can see them. They're like, hey, Julie, do you know? They said they're not gonna shop here anymore. Isn't that awesome? And then a white person goes out there and says, we would change things around, to accommodate, diversity over here. We are going to, hire a couple of bonquishes, to show diversity. So, and then he goes back, he's like, I hope they keep up with this. Please let them boycott. Let them boycott. I mean, because if we tell them don't come, they would cry racism. But if they kick themselves out, we are happy, because all they do is come here and cause problems. So while the blacks were busy, they were busy talking about begging for free money, calling it reparation. Other people are taking real power. Real power. So now you can no longer cry about reparation as the powers keep changing hands. You can no longer cry about reparation. What, you're going to go to Zoran Mamdani and say reparation? He just got here. He literally just got here. Mamdani is not talking about no reparation. He's telling you, look, we'll give you, we'll freeze the rent. Just go to work and pay, pay your rent. We're gonna set up free, government grocery stores, but you gotta pay. You gotta pay. So this is wild. It's wild. Jesse said, well done, immigrants getting power. But let's make sure those immigrants are not anti-black. No, they are not. They are not anti-black. At this point, the blacks just gotta, be smart, and come together and try to work their way back up. But crying is not gonna get you any power. It's too late for that. I mean, you've been saying the same thing over and over. When you say, oh yeah, in 1869, 1700, people are like, yeah, whatever. They move on. They don't care. I'm just telling you the truth.
They came here for a better life, resources, and the American dream that freedmen built. Now, I'm sure I'm going to get some slack for that, or somebody's going to say, oh, you hate immigrants, and that's fine. You're entitled to that opinion. You don't have to like my opinion.
Ma'am, we know you do hate immigrants, but you can't do anything to the immigrants. That's the beauty of it. You do realize your leaders are immigrants. Literally, immigrants. I mean, Mamdani literally just got off the plane. Literally. So, yeah, you don't have to like him. Trump don't like Mamdani. Other white Republicans, if they don't like him, he still won. So some ghetto chick not liking him, how's that gonna change anything?
Or what I'm saying for it to be the truth. You know in your heart. Better yet, since many of these people want to align with them folks and they realize in the hard way them folks will turn on them, let me let Ann Coulter tell you. Maybe you'll listen to her. Now, I don't rock with Ann, but I got to give her this.
So isn't it funny how the white people they're called racist, they want to now align with those people. When those people were sending the message, they didn't get it. You think if Ann Coulter's words, whatever she's saying is so powerful, how come it did not prevent Mamdani from winning? So obviously, whatever she's saying, she's just ranting just like you. because they look up to white people. They, you know, that doesn't mean Mamdani and others, all of us do the same. She can say she hates immigrants, which she does make clear. She's been saying it for years, but that's not stopping immigrants from winning. Mamdani won despite even what Trump himself said about him. It did not stop him. But let's hear, one of their white masters tell us.
She told the truth on this one. Guess dating JJ from Good Times years ago turned her out, but she ain't lying.
The reason people are concerned about the words they use, the reason Americans care about civil rights, the reason we are sensitive to racism is for one issue and one issue only, and that is how Black Americans were treated in this country. It is because of the legacy of slavery and Jim Crow. Those do not compare. Irish, the new groups, they always get a little bad treatment. Do not compare that to how Blacks are treated in this country. You don't get to piggyback on the Black experience in America. You do not get to do that just because you are a woman, an immigrant, gay, Hispanic. No, the rest of you can go F yourselves. No, this is for Black Americans. We seem to have forgotten them. It's not a rainbow coalition.
Various groups, feminist, gay rights groups, and those who are defending immigrants have commandeered the Black civil rights experience. Yes. What do you mean by that?
There is the legacy of...
Look, do you know how long Ann Coulter has been saying this? When she used to say it, these same Blacks, same FBA Blacks, were the ones saying she was racist for saying it. I bet you Ann Coulter has been saying this even before Zoran Mamdani came to America. Did it stop Mamdani? No, but have you guys noticed the Blacks, they used to say, Ann Coulter is a white supremacist, she's a racist. But now they want to align themselves with Ann Coulter. It's too late. It's too late. You think people are here listening to Ann Coulter? I mean, these FBAs are out of their goddamn mind. You think Zoran Mamdani and the people voting for Zoran probably even know who Ann Coulter is? No, they do not. And they could care less. When they hear her, that would even make them vote for Zoran and his type more. So here we go. The train have left the station. You cannot stop the train. The train has no brake. The driver is sleeping at the wheel. How are you going to stop the train?
Slavery and Jim Crow laws. We don't owe the homeless. We don't owe feminists. We don't owe women who are desirous of having abortion. That's what civil rights has become for much of the left. Wait, can I just say, what have we done to the immigrants? We owe Black people something. We have a legacy of slavery. Immigrants haven't even been in this country.
Now, many of these people come here and they'll talk about how they had $1 in their pocket and they made it work. Then they'll turn around and tell us we should have been further. And you know what? They are right. We should have been further. But you see, we were sabotaged in our homeland. Many of our towns and our communities and our business districts, they sit under highways that you drive on every day, man-made lakes, and more. Not to mention,
you hear the excuses? You hear these excuses? So, how can they compete with immigrants who are putting in the work, but you are here making all the excuses that you can in the book? It's not going to work. St. James, thank you for the super chat. St. James said, Ann Coulter just wants to sell books. Exactly. Exactly. So now, all of a sudden, she is referencing Ann Coulter as if Ann Coulter cares about, Blacks. This is just funny. This is funny, but okay.
We've helped many of these other groups get here, and we allow you to use our causes to further your agenda. So you coming up off our back, including taking advantage of the 14th Amendment that was intended for us.
The Blacks, the Blacks, the Blacks. Get closer. Get closer. Look, this is not going to help you. So if you keep saying, the people came there, you paved the way. How do you pave the way for people a way that you don't even have? Dr. Claude Anderson, I've been trying to tell you how to do it. You guys didn't listen. You thought, okay, we're going to go to, the white group. We want to be accepted. We're going to vote Democrat and we're looking for free money. No. Every cause, every group is like, oh, today is the letter alphabet. We're going to support them. Oh, now is the hunchback people. Oh, association. Yes, we the fighters. We're going to help them. So the blacks have no direction. That's what this proves. So, Mamdani, you heard him, his speech. He did not say no FBA name. He gave his shout out to those who voted for him. Immigrants and the woke, purple hair, white women. Yeah, those are the ones he gave shout out to. They voted for him. Nana, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the support. Appreciate that. Yeah, those are who voted for him. Are you guys seeing how they keep going back to the civil rights, talking about the 14th Amendment? Okay, ma'am, fine. They wrote it because of you. What are you doing with that 14th Amendment? Because that made the children of the slaves citizens. So what are you doing with that citizenship? That should be the question. But showing us the civil rights, that's not gonna cut it.
You see, many of these other groups are not used to fighting back. We always stood 10 toes down. But we're not fighting for anybody anymore. And it's because of this type of disrespect. Why? That's why many of them folks and a lot of these other groups are crying for us to come out to help them or whining about it when we don't. You see, we were sabotaged time and time again. And that occurred all over the U.S. New York, too. Countless black areas like San Juan Hill that was in Manhattan, Soho District, Buffalo, New York, which was founded by a black man, Black Joe Hodges. We were the first stocks and bonds. You see, we're written all into the Constitution and even sewn the first American flag. This is why many of these groups are so quick to tell us to forget about the past. See,
ma'am, nobody's telling you to, like, you notice we're in 2025. They keep talking about the past. They keep repeating what they're hearing. If you are in 2025, you want to talk about 1860s, a time that you weren't even born. Like, how does that even make sense? Fine, you were written in the Constitution, great. Now you're telling us that you have no reason not to succeed here. I don't think these people understand that. If you were written in there, that means you are important and you should put that to good use. How do you allow people who, according to you, were not even here, were not written in it, come here and run circles all around you? So great. If you're saying you were written there, then that's good. That's good. Now you're telling us they need blacks who defy said Negroes always do everything first, huh? We created stocks and bonds. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, they created these stocks and bonds. What's wrong with these people, man? They created air, they created everything. My goodness.
Their forgetting means not to bring it up, and they can create a false narrative. I mean, I could go on. And I'll say it again for the people in the back who don't hear me all the time. Throughout all that sabotage, we still didn't flee. You see, we don't whine when you get something or try to stop your bag or stop your community from doing better. But y'all have always done it to us. That's why many of us freedmen are letting you fight your own battles. And baby, you have one coming with Trump. Now, I don't have a dog in this fight because I don't live in New York. Okay? So it wouldn't matter whether I like Zoran or not. Those who live there have to deal with it. But I can tell you, it does seem like this man is going to bring in as many immigrants as he can flood this area with. A Freedman family, let me know what y'all think. Do y'all think Zoran going to do a good job in New York? Or is he going to use FBA Freedman causes to forward his agenda? Because he definitely won't be increasing the taxes.
If he won without you FBAs, what makes you think he would use your causes? The only cause you guys have left is begging for reparation. Zoran is not asking for reparation. Now Zoran is in the seat to write the checks for reparation. He's the giver of reparation. So you guys better start learning how to kiss Zoran's ass so he can, throw you some breadcrumbs.
Hochul have already made that clear that ain't happening. Now I want to circle back to this whole immigrants built New York thing. But before I do, please be sure to like and subscribe, to the Emancipation Media channel, as well as check out the African Diaspora News Channel app. Okay? Now, let's start with Soho. Many people in New York and some who don't live in New York have heard of Soho. Now, Soho is known for its rich history in New York, but what they never seem to mention is how the area displaced, erased, and excluded freedmen for centuries, despite the fact that the land was originally ours in the first place.
Here we go. What is it about the FBA blacks? I mean, they always start a good story. I'm like, yes, finally the blacks own a place. And then bing, boom, they tell us if the white people are not stealing their patents or their inventions, now they are stealing their whole entire city that they started. I mean, like, what the hell is going on? I mean, everything is stolen as far as they are concerned. Off Air and C, thank you for the super chat, said, no stars and stripes flags waving in FBA hoods. Great analysis as always, Lord Afridamus. Thank you for the super chat. That's true. They only start being American, super American, when they want to hate on Africans. So now, they're not talking about what is it called? Oklahoma, Tulsa, Oklahoma, or Rosewood. Now they created Soho also. Okay, let's find out what happened to the blacks in Soho.
Now, before these boutiques and high-end lofts, this area was once known as Land of the Blacks. And at the time, also people called it Negro Frontier. And it was Manhattan's first black settlement. And some even say one of the first in North America in the mid-1600s. So, Ron, when your family got here again? The FBA were used to build the colony known then as New Amsterdam. But in
oh, wait, did she just say New Amsterdam? Ma'am, you do know Amsterdam is in Holland, the Netherlands. So when they say New Amsterdam, that means those people immigrated from the Netherlands. And they built the place and they call it New Amsterdam. They named it after Old Amsterdam. Do you guys see how FBA always do this to themselves? So this woman is telling us all this stuff. And then she went on to post pictures of, the blacks over here, being servants, sweeping. And there's a little white Betty over there, watching the slaves work. I mean, is this lady for real? Is she for real? So she's telling us that they built it, but now she goes and showing us pictures of some blacks over here, sweeping the front yard. I mean, let's be real. Do these people, the picture she's showing here, do they look like they own this house? Do these people look like they own the house? Man, look, I definitely I'm gonna go out of my way to provide free classes for the blacks here, because I'm beginning to see they don't know how to work the system. I mean, why are you doing this? Why are you showing this? This is not good. No bueno.
1644, a group of our ancestors petitioned for emancipation and negotiated a status known as half freedom. Now, it was nowhere near true freedom, but it granted them wages, the right to marry, the right to testify in court, and most importantly, the thing they wanted, which was to own land. Now, they were allocated several tracts where they farmed, raised families, and built a self-sufficient community. At one point, Black families held 130 acres of land, a cattle pen they built themselves, and more than 30 Black-owned farms, a level of self-sufficiency that was stolen from future generations. Now, everything changed in 1664 when the English took control of the area. Black landowners were forced to give up their property, and it was transferred to wealthy white landowners who held massive estates for over a century. By the mid-1800s, after those estates were sold off, new waves of Italians, Irish, Jewish, and more moved into the.
You mean all immigrants? New Amsterdam immigrant, Irish immigrant, Italian immigrant. Why do FBAs like to own themselves this way? The link is in the chat, by the way. I won't be here too long, but guys, hit the link and come join the conversation. Guys, do you see this for yourself? So this is her comeback to Zoran Mamdani. I thought she was going to show us something to debunk Mamdani. So all she's showing is immigrants have been coming here generation after generation. Yeah, Mamdani cannot go back in time. He lives in 2025. So he is taking over. And that's what he's doing. So telling him about 1600s, that's not going to change anything.
Area. Now, a small Black presence remained, but industrialization targeted that too. To make way for the same buildings that are now celebrated under historic preservation, 127 Black-owned properties were destroyed, and the remaining Black families were pushed out. Some of these same families had already lost land through earlier forced seizures. That erasure paved the way for Soho, what we see today. In addition to us being the first stocks and bond on Wall Street, we had flourishing communities as well, other than what we now know as Soho. What about San Juan Hill, a once thriving Black community and business district in Manhattan? What many people don't realize is where Lincoln Square and Center sit now used to be more than 800 Black-owned businesses buried underneath. Now, San Juan Hill formed in response.
That's right. Buried underneath. Did you hear this from her? Like, everything she's telling us is how Blacks have, it's like has been. It's like you are a has been group. She's doing a terrible job at this. I mean, so she's coming to prove to Zoran Mamdani that no, the immigrants didn't build New York, just to give us the evidence that they actually did. She started naming the Irish, the Dutch, the English, and so we're looking at these people here in the picture. We know clearly they did not build these buildings. Pastor Manning said it. So I don't even understand her point. She's trying to debunk Zoran Mamdani, but she's doing a terrible job at it.
to segregation and Jim Crow in New York. And by the late 1800s and early 1900s, it had grown into one of the largest Black communities in New York before World War I. Now, former residents say the name San Juan Hill likely came from the Battle of San Juan in 1898, a major victory achieved in part because of Black soldiers. And many of these soldiers settled in the Upper West Side, helping shape the foundation of San Juan Hill. As Black Americans filled the area, San Juan Hill blossomed into a vibrant center of daily life. It held jazz clubs, restaurants, barbershops, grocery stores, social halls, and hundreds of other Black-owned businesses. Music, culture, and new trends born in San Juan Hill spread beyond the neighborhood.
All right, you guys seen and heard that. I feel bad for the FBAs. You know, they are not taking this Mamdani thing too well. I mean, look, I was rooting for FBA, man. I wanted you guys to win. You know, all these beautiful places you're showing. You know, I wish it wasn't all in the past. I wish it was all in the present. But know that there is somebody out here. Myself, Mr. Damus, Professor Damus, I'm in your corner. I'm in your corner. I want you to win. And I'm here to lay the blueprint out. Just like Dr. Claude Anderson was trying to tell you. But if you want to attack, you know, quote unquote, immigrants with hate, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. When you guys are ready for the blueprint and the strategy, hit me up. Hit me up or join the Negrology 102 class for next quarter. I would spend the time to lay it out for you. Okay? That's just what it is. This is what America is all about, especially New York City. From her own mouth, she said it. Like, the place have received so many different immigrants. The Dutch were there first. They built a lot of the structures that you see. Even the structures that she was showing us, the Dutch, they built it. So at this point, what FBA need to do is, it looks like FBA completely lost their sense of direction, where to head to. So now they need to turn around, be humble, stop allowing their egos to control them and the anger. Then they'll be able to see the light. There's no way you'll be able to see the light by being hateful. It's not possible. You see, hate towards other people is like drinking poison. It's like drinking poison and hoping that poison kills someone else. No, that poison is slowly going to kill you. I mean, I've seen a title that someone sent to me. You know, the leader of FBA, Tariq Nasheed, told, he said, oh, what does Zoran Mamdani's win? What does that mean for us FBAs? Well, all it means is, you know, New York City now got new immigrants. You know, this is a good thing. This is the first time, you know, immigrants who were not enslaved, who have no slave connection, came here as free people and finally, you know, are running the show over there. And for me, from what I've heard from Mamdani, I'm not a Mamdani fan, because he's talking about all that, you know, socialist stuff. I am a capitalist. You know, he's talking about government grocery stores. Oh, no way. I don't want the government to be running any stores. I mean, allow independent people to do this. I don't believe that's even Mamdani's, you know, own agenda. The people, you gotta just follow the money. Follow the money. And the crazy thing is, they said Mamdani, you know, he's Muslim, right? And it's a lot of Muslims that support it. But the crazy thing is, the Jews in New York voted for him overwhelmingly. They voted for him overwhelmingly. And from what I'm seeing, the Indians, literally, have you guys noticed the Indians? They are on a roll to colonize America. Because you guys do realize, even Kamala is Indian. She is Indian. Because if you look at it, people try to say, oh, her dad is Jamaican. Are you dumb? Do you not know Jamaica have Indians? Okay, for example, look at it. Mamdani. Mamdani is from Uganda. He's from Uganda. So just because it's not like everybody from Uganda is dark skinned. So you have to be able to differentiate nationality and ethnicity. That's why you notice even Cam, the guy that you guys keep calling an Arab, he used semantics and all of that, talking about Assyrians. Well, we don't call the people there Assyrians anymore. Like the new president of Syria, the one that was terrorist and now he's no longer terrorist, Al-Jalalain, he changed his name, right? He's Assyrian, but we all know when people say that person is Arab, we know what you mean. So that's why he put lots of emphasis on saying, I'm Haitian. But in Haiti does have other ethnic groups. It's not only, the Africans there, the people who are from the African descendants that look like me. Not everybody in Haiti look like me and Wyclef Jean. They have Syrians, Lebanese. Do you think all the people, like Gambians, even in Gambia, do you think they look like me? Do you guys know some of them look like Mamdani? You do realize that, right? You're going to see some people who are white. They're from African nations. So people don't get this. So it's good that Mamdani won, because this is going to give a taste. It's going to give a taste to those, blue hair, purple hair people to understand what that means. Look at the UK. Look at England. England, now when I see they show London, all that place, it looks like Pakistan or somewhere like that. So, it's a takeover. I mean, people can complain about this. You have to remember the same places these groups are coming to. Different groups are coming to, even including us. The white people did come to where we were, and they still do. Have you guys heard of colonization? Have you heard of 1884? You know what happened in 1884? It was when the white people gathered at a table. No African was present. And then they said, look, we are looking at this big map, and now we're just gonna carve it. Who gives a damn if those people on that other side of the river, they are related or not? We don't give a damn. We want it. Okay, we're just gonna draw a line. So they carved it up, they drew all the lines, and then it stuck around. They did it in India too. India and Pakistan used to be the same people. They drew a line in between them and created a huge war. And then the British were there, doing their thing, sucking resources out of them. And then the British, finally, they're like, yeah, hey, mate, we're going to go back to England and, start drinking tea and crumpet, because you guys are getting buck wild over here. The Indians are like, Hey, hold on, buddy. You ain't about to go there by yourself. We coming too. You know, that's what happened. They're like, we coming too. So they followed them. You know, so America did the same thing. Went around the world, start doing their thing. And now people are like, look, if these people are so powerful, they're able to do this. We're seeing pictures. We want to get to where they are. But the blacks, they are upset. Oh, they did the 14th Amendment for us. We know. You didn't do it for yourself. The white people did. And it's the same white people who are deciding. They get to decide. The white people, their law allows us to come here. And they say, if you do this and this and this, you follow this and this and this, you get to become a part of us. You become a citizen. So that's why when I hear these blacks saying, oh, I'm indigenous here. Look, blacks became officially citizens here in America in 1868. So if there's a date for you to become a citizen, that means at one point you were not. That means they brought you from someplace else. And Trump himself said it. He said, oh, it's for the children of the slaves. Well, we don't go by that. We go by the naturalization one, which is set aside for immigrants. I want FBAs to know this. And I've heard some of them say, oh, we're going to fight to abrogate the 14th Amendment. Well, if they remove the 14th Amendment now, that's going to make your citizenship too null and void. If it was written for you specifically, now that's going to make your citizenship null and void. You know what that makes you? A true second-class citizen. That's what I'm saying. You cannot be so hateful and angry to a point that you hurt yourself. Don't advocate for things to hurt yourself. For example, today, this Mamdani, all the other people, at one point, it was black people that had power. Black people would go out there, they would march, and they would say, this is what we want in the city, and the city would agree to it. But look at it. Today, the last group that was able to do a march, it was led by two fat, radical lesbians. I mean, imagine men following lesbians. You are a man. You're following lesbians? What can they possibly be talking about? That you are interested in. What could they possibly be fighting for that would elevate you? That's where you lost the plot. And those people, what happened? When they collected their money, the same white people they were telling you they were evil, they went and bought homes in those white communities. They didn't come to the hood and help you. All they did was get you to come out. And look, I think truly they use a system to get the blacks to wild out. I think that was the final nail in the coffin so blacks can go out there, allow them to do whatever, so that everybody else can X them out. And the blacks fell for it. They fell for it. I don't think you understand this. The last place you can ask for reparation is New York. You can't ask for no damn reparation. Mamdani just got here. What can you What can you possibly say or accuse him of? Or what story you're going to sell to Mamdani that he's gonna care about? I'm just curious. Because he's talking about how immigrants built New York, and which is true, by the way. It is true. You want to make the argument, but you did a terrible job by showing a couple of, black maids sweeping the front yard of some rich white people. I mean, you proved his point. I'm here to help you out. The people that are telling you immigrants did not build New York are lying to you. Even the President Trump. Do you know that Trump's father is from Germany? His mother is from Scotland. So Trump himself is an immigrant to America by FBA logic. By FBA logic. So, the immigrant thing, cut it out, just learn. Exactly. Oh, Nana said Karen Bass went to Ghana to get her back cracked when LA was burning. Yeah. So yeah. That's what it is. Like now, the blacks are just like uncle babies here in America. What you need to do is, put your pride aside, go and kiss Mam Danny's ass, let him know, hey man, Mam Danny, these white people did us wrong, and we paved the way for you because we voted for the Democrats over and over to pave the way for people like you. Please help us with some funds. Maybe we can build our own enclave. Oh, you can help us relocate to Ghana. Or where you're from, Uganda, you can talk to Museveni. He can allocate us a land somewhere there that we can also move to, so we can be able to go back and forth. At this point, that's what's left. But, you got to be careful with this immigrant talk, especially on the internet, because what are you going to do now that you've got a ton of immigrants in power? I'm talking new immigrants in power. What if they decide to pass laws? Lobby for laws and say, you can no longer badmouth immigrants. What you going to do? Just like the Asian, what is it called? The anti-Asian law. Kamala is considered Asian. Indians are Asian. The first thing they did was pass that law. But they were gaslighting the blacks because they don't want you to go around crying, saying, oh, we didn't pass that law just against you, but it's against the blacks because they were the ones going out there attacking Asians, knocking them out. So they're like, you know what? Let's get these people to vote for us. We would say this is an anti-crime bill. And who do you think that crime bill was against? I'm just here to give you, the scoop. I'm giving you the scoop how this is working. Okay, do you not see how Mamdani is laughing? He is in disbelief. He's like, wow, they really bought it. These people really bought what I'm selling. He himself can't believe it. No, Mamdani, they did. Trust me, they believe it. Let me show you here. So Zoran Mamdani, you know, when he first put out, you know, his first single he put out, you know, before he finally conquered the blacks. Let me show you his rap song.
Chapati origins of India, but born in Eugene. Rock brown skin, bandi mona Uganda do yebeko muru. This a taxi, Papa Zungu se matatu. See me driving this car while I'm wearing my sapatu. You worry about yourself, you don't worry about what I do. You get to where you're going, cause I'll do what I have to. Let's get together. Let's get together. Let's get together. I'm settle this thing once and forever. I'm mindless, hoping for somebody. It's eating a good day, and I'm trying to meet a shawty like. Oh, looking so fair and handsome. About to hold all of Kamala. You don't know, ask her today. I'm a chop off your money if you want to stay. They call up my skinners, no broad with the watcher. The two cannot mind, but I'm charged for the banja. It's the naughty and Tom, Jim in the band, Tom. Wait, glad, walk past, and don't you for ransom. Got a grandson that's handsome, and that son's better say come. I love the very, I love the nice. Some me I hate, but I love no spice. So my see me, I saw you when I price.
Wow. You guys see that? You guys see that? So, Mamdani, he's the first rapper. And, you know, Mamdani's rapping about samosa, chapati, you know, and all that. So you guys can say, DJ Biggs, he's cosplaying, everyone cosplaying FBA. Look, he did better than FBA. How many rappers came from New York? How many? Plenty of them. How many of them are in office? 0. So that means Mamdani did it better than any FBA rapper in New York City. You guys must accept the defeat and just start bowing down to Mamdani. Ladies and gentlemen, please make sure you like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. I wouldn't be here too long. And I hope, you know, those of you that came late, check out the beginning of it, about how they use black entertainers to, you know, like the CIA, so that they can create confusion in Africa and other countries. All right. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Today, I actually just wanted to do 2 hours, but I have plenty more topics to actually cover here. So if you're new here, don't be a stranger. Continue to follow the Afridamus Report, the best show on this side of heaven that brings you the unfiltered, uncut truth about what's going on with the FBA mind and about Africa. Thank you. I'll see you guys in the next one.
Lend thy ears to the Afridamus. Pay attention to the Afridamus. The true Soninke warrior. Naturalist his intelligence. As a true professor. Solution to brainwash diseases. Sit back, relax, and hear the wisdom. Afridamus will heal your minds. Sit back, reflect, you'll find no objection. Afridamus will clear your doubts here. Always log on to the Afridamus. Lend thy ears to the Afridamus. Is the truth and no doubt the Soninke warrior.